today changes my whole entire life.
Welcome to Gritability, a podcast about the power of perseverance, overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds to attain the life of your dreams. I'm your podcast host, Ro Clausen, and with me in the studio, as always, is the beautiful, ever-radiant Ro Clausen.
Hello, podcast.
Nice to be back. A little bit different setup today. We're in a different studio. It's got a little bit different vibe going. And we've got a little bit different guest with us. It's not just you and I in the studio today. We've got Dorian Warmsley with us today.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, we are excited to have you here because as two people who are extremely passionate about fitness, health, wellness, man, going over your bio and knowing what you do now, Ro and I were really excited to get in here and spend some time with you today.
All right.
So a little bit about our podcast, Gritability, right? Yeah. It's about overcoming those really, really difficult things in our lives that come up, challenges that everybody has, to really find out what's within you. Reading your bio, man, there was a number of things that stood out, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to have this conversation because you've been through it, man. You've got some grit.
Yeah.
So if you could tell us, why don't you start out wherever you're comfortable? Tell us a little bit about your background. What are some of those things that...
I'm originally from Orange County, California. I was born in Fullerton. It's a city next to Anaheim. So I pretty much grew up about 20, 25 minutes from Disneyland. So as a kid, I went there a bunch of times. So now I'm older. I hate that place. Been there a lot of times. Grew up there. About the age 10, me, my mom, my younger sister, and my stepfather, we became homeless. So I was living with friends. My mom would go stay at the shelter, and my sister would go stay with my aunt. And I was just, in a sense, couch surfing at the age of 10, all the way till 12. And in between that time period, we did stay at hotels, just local motels. We would get vouchers from churches. So churches would give us vouchers, and we would literally have to go 30 minutes across town just to have somewhere to sleep that night. And back then, this is early 2000s, so, I would bus it, hour to school, find a bike ride, hour and a half to school. And that went on for about 3 years, And at the time, I didn't think nothing of it. I was young. In the hotel, I'm like, cool, with my mom, my stepdad, my sister, it was no big deal. Oh, I get to stay with my friends. Cool, we get to stay tonight. But then as I got older and I think back on those memories, it's pretty sad, a lot of the things. About the age 2004, so I was about 13, my mom moved us here to Las Vegas. My stepdad lived here previously in the past and liked it. We wanted to change. So we moved here. Our first 3 nights here, we stayed at the Golden Gate Motel, Circus, and somewhere else. And then my mom eventually found one of those weekly spots. It was called Harbor Island, right behind the Hard Rock. Well, Hard Rock's not there no more, but Harmon and Paradise in that area. Mm-hmm. We were there for about a few days. And within a few days, my stepfather ended up getting arrested because I guess he had a warrant in California and they ran your background. So while I'm at school...
Wait a minute, the weekly ran his background.
They ran, So while I'm at school, this all happening. My mom was at work and my sister got taken to the child haven place, which is like the foster care, I believe. Mm-hmm. So then that happened within the first few days. And then after that, it was just grind time. My mom would walk, I don't know how many miles it is, but walk all the way to her job at the 99-cent store, making $6.15 an hour. And I would meet her halfway when we had groceries, things like that. And for me, throughout my whole life, because after being homeless, I made it on my end to make sure I was never a burden on her. Not complaining about certain things, not having certain things. I don't want to say knew my place, but I I understood the situation. And after her doing those things, literally for a month straight, saved up enough money, found us a 1-bedroom apartment. We moved up to the 1-bedroom apartment. And then gradually over time, things just got better. She got a better job, more money. Stepdad got out. He got a job. We moved to a 2-bedroom apartment. And it was like one of those movies, moving on up, And then after about 18, that's when I started more getting to the party life of things. I never really went to school to try to learn anything. I went to school because I thought that's what you needed to do. We went to CSN, got my FAFSA money, dropped out, and had money just to have money. Very irresponsible.
Well, wait a minute. I don't want to gloss over that because everything that you just said, the fact that you were able to stay in school, like you said, hopping on the bus or jumping on a bike to go to, you stayed in school this whole time?
Well, partly.
Okay.
In elementary, yes. I remember it was fifth grade, I believe we became homeless. So fifth grade, because I was like 9/11 had happened. Yeah, fifth grade, sixth grade. Seventh grade is where it got tricky because at that point I didn't want to go to school. I didn't have clothes. I didn't have things. I was embarrassed, things of that nature. So I would go and just act like I went to school, but then just walk around for hours and then come back home. But then the way we were living, it was in survival mode. So there's no way mom could check or anything. She's trying to figure out how we're going to pay the next day. And I was endlessly failing. In seventh grade, I was not doing well to where the school had to get involved and try to help me out with after school programs. But for some reason, once we moved here, it was like a 360. Like my grades instantly went up. Everything was, I don't know, I just more focused. Maybe because I was away from my friends or just the situation got better at home. But yeah, that's how that went. But
man, that's because when I learned that you had gone on to college, I was like, wait a minute. Despite everything else, all that, not knowing where you're sleeping at night, that's huge. For the last couple years, I've been working with individuals transitioning out of the system.
Yeah.
Homeless, like knowing where you're going to lay your head at night is number one, having that foundation. And man, it makes everything so much more challenging. And I don't think most people out there recognize what that struggle is like. So you just covered a whole bunch of years.
Yeah.
And, it might have sounded easy. Like you said, you get to live in a motel or a hotel, right? And that might be nice for a night or two.
Yeah.
But man, doing that for any length of time. And like you said, for people who don't know what weeklies are.
Yeah.
Weeklies are those places, they're motels, literally what they sound like. It's week to week.
Yep.
And man, it's hard to get out of that cycle. I know so many people right now who are stuck in that cycle. And the fact that you guys were able to break out of that and get to that better place, man, that's incredible. And that's obviously your mom too.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of my drive now today, in the back of my mind, I would just think of all those situations. Even when we were homeless in California, she always found a way to make it happen. Whether it was legally or illegally, whatever the case may be, she makes sure. I never felt like I went without, to be honest. When I think back on my life, I didn't have PlayStation. I didn't have the newest shoes, Jordans, or anything like that. But now that I'm older, I think that shit don't even matter. I could care less, I never had somebody, oh my God, you're so cool, you got Jordans. Oh my God, you play video games. I don't play video games. To me, go ahead, do your thing. But as a kid, not having it kind of helped me now, older. But there were other certain situations, like for example, as I mentioned to you before, I do charity events here and there. And there's one day in particular, I remember like it was yesterday. I had been in maybe 7th grade. We got a voucher to stay in a hotel in Anaheim, California. This was probably like way out from where school was. But I remember it was Thanksgiving and all our food and stuff like that came from charities as well. Churches, charities, things of that nature. And I remember it was Thanksgiving. We're in the motel. I was watching a Cowboys game. And it's funny because I'm pretty sure they probably lost. You know how that goes. I'm a Cowboys fan. And I remember just thinking like, damn, there was no Thanksgiving dinner. I was eating crackers with cheese. And at the time, it wasn't as deep. But then now I'm older, especially when I became sober, and I could have these memories. I just sit there and think like, God damn, I wish nobody to go through anything like that as a kid especially. Because after that, moving forward, I hate holidays to this day. I hate them for what? I didn't have that experience of family and things like that. And it sucks now because I'm older and I have friends who are like family to me. But when it comes holiday time, they got family to go to. Even till now, it's still not I'm older, I'm more in control of things. I really don't care about holidays, but that was the main reason I hated holidays. And that's why now I try my best to get involved in community stuff because I don't want anybody, especially kids, like at that age, that could shape you in so many different ways. Luckily, I came out, I think, pretty well. I could have went a whole nother route, But that was that one memory in my head. It's embedded. Every time Thanksgiving comes around, it's in me every time.
Well, you bring up a good point. I mean, obviously, I see where you are now. And a big part of what we like to talk about on here is the challenges that you overcame. And knowing that although you made it on to college, you had that at some point, addiction crept into your life. Tell us the role that played and how you ended up not only getting on that track, but then ultimately kind of changing direction.
Yeah, and I'll make it clear. I went to college, and I just went to CSN, community college. I wasn't like going. I kind of just did the minimum just so I could get my FAFSA check, to be honest, and then I will drop out. I did that for like 2 years, and they caught on to me, and then didn't give me no more grants. I kind of was just working the system, I guess you'll say. But through high school, I wasn't a big partier. I didn't really drink until I was a senior high school, beer pong, things like that. Didn't smoke weed or anything. But after high school, I got into meeting people who were in college, going to UNLV, and going to those kind of parties. And at that point is where I got into liquor. And at the time, I thought it was just fun, but I enjoyed being the life of the party. Like, I was known as that. Like, the song YOLO came out, people thought of that as me, Mr. YOLO. That's what I was all about. Taking shots, pouring Molly in my liquor. I loved that attention of the drunk guy, the fun guy that's always fucked up. Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah.
Oh, the guy's always, always messed up. And as I think back on it, I liked it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, And as time went on, it was right before my accident happened, I started to feel in a way. I'm like, damn, people are only hitting me up to party and drink. I have more substance to me than that. And that's where I gradually started changing things. But it was mostly liquor was my main vice. I'm half Mexican, so I don't know that's probably why I was able to hold my liquor so well, but I could drink. Even now, I've been drinking probably a year and a half now. I'm pretty sure if we were going to take shots, I could probably throw them back for a while without missing a beat like it was the old days. And all those nights, blacked out nights. I got my first DUI when I was 20, drunk, twice the limit. What else happened to me? I went to jail because I was drunk in the club underage. They found out because I got in a fight, took me to jail. Little things like that. I went to jail in Lake Havasu, spring break, for underage drinking.
Let me just hit pause. No, because you're like, little things.
Yeah.
DWIs, you know what I mean? DWIs, fights, going to jail, getting thrown out of the club. Like,
I guess
believe me, I get
than
it. I get it, right? As somebody who ended up in prison with a life sentence.
Yeah.
I get it. But I don't want to minimize that. Like, there's people out here listening going, wait, what?
Yeah. I guess so. You're right.
Like, those are kind of big things.
And it was crazy because there was a period in time where it was almost like I was going to jail every few months.
Mm.
I went to jail, got a DUI. While I was supposed to be out of trouble, I was in Lake Havasu. I got arrested 10 days before my 21st birthday for underage drinking. At spring break Havasu. Come on, what is that about? Yeah. So then because that happened, when I came back to Vegas, like, the judge wants to see you because you broke your clause. And a part of my life is so funny because the judge is talking, my guy's defending me. Somehow, some way, I end up getting a deal towards, okay, you're going to do 10 days in jail every weekend. So I would turn myself in Friday night, and I would get out Sunday night.
Wow.
What does that look like? I've heard about this. And as somebody who spent a lot of time in jail,
Oh, yeah.
I never got one of those. So tell us about, you turn yourself in Friday night. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah,
Walk us
so
through
he was
that.
like, okay, you broke the law, or you broke your clause, 10 days. My defender was like, oh, he has a job, this and that. At that time, I was working at Gap. Nothing big. And I was like, okay, cool. So the whole month of June of 2012, I think it was, I had to turn myself in Friday night by a certain time. So if I turned myself in, I'd hit the button. Hey, it's Dorian, I'm here. They come get me, process me and everything. I would sit in the bullpen. By the time I got a cell, it's already a day and a half gone. It's already like Saturday night. So I'd only really spend like a day maybe. But I would just turn myself in. If I turn myself in 6 o'clock Friday, I'd get out 6 o'clock Sunday. So during the week, I was doing regular stuff. I had my friends smoking, drinking. Friday night before I go turn in, I take a big shower, a big number 2, and eat a big meal. So those day and a half I'm in there, I didn't eat, I didn't shower, I didn't shit. It was just smooth. And I did that for 5 weekends, the whole month of June.
Oh, man.
And yeah, when I think back on it, I'm like, what kind of life have I lived? When you turn yourself in on weekends.
I don't know. I would trade. That
I
would have worked for us.
I would have traded, yeah.
Yeah, we could have made that work.
And then after that, little things kept happening, but things kept happening. Like I said, the club situation, what else had happened? And a few other things. I can't remember, but yeah.
Well, I know that we're getting to this.
Yeah.
Because there was a bigger moment.
Yeah.
And in my mind, like, I'm always looking for, okay, what was that one thing, that moment that changes your life?
Yeah.
And I know for me, and I've shared my story numerous times, like I got slapped around a lot. Like I needed to be told numerous times. I found myself in prison.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, time to wake up. But it didn't change that. Like overnight, it was a process for me. So I know you had a major event in your life, and I definitely want to hear about that. But I also want to hear like, what was the process afterwards, like for you becoming the person that you are now? Like how long did that take as well?
After the accident?
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us about that.
Yeah, so like I said, party life, 2010 till 2014. And then the end of 2013, I got an experience with cocaine. I had a friend who dealed it. It was nothing to us. Every weekend, let's go play basketball. Hey, let's do a couple of lines. After a while, me and my friend kind of went off to our side and got our own dealer, and we would literally just do it for fun. Monday night dookies, we would call it. So Monday, do it, boom. You have to go shit, whatever. And secretly, I was doing it more than I should have, to the point to where I was like skinny, you know? I didn't know that, but people who saw me are probably like, what? Because when I see pictures, you can see it. The neck sucked in, cheekbones. I got a video of me, and I'm like, wow, look like a crackhead. And I was doing that for a few months. I was on it tough. I'm not going to lie, about 6 months. Then I got tired of it because I got paranoid one night, called my mom, told her, and I had to stop. So then August of 2014, I'm out with some friends. We're partying at LAX, the club here in Vegas, off Molly, drunk, all these things. We get home. I use my friend's girlfriend's car because we're at his house. They fall asleep. I use her car to go meet somebody, to go meet a girl. On the way there, grab 2 beers, driving, going down DI, speeding, drinking, whatever. Hit a car. Got in a car accident. So at this point, I'm like, damn, they don't know I have their car, and I totaled it. Her family, the car was under her mom's parents' name. They pressed charges. I'm like, God damn. So they pressed charges. This was August of 2014. Now, November of 2014, I'm with some friends. It's a friend's birthday. We're on a party bus, and that's the last thing I remember. I wake up days later, I wake up in the hospital. Tied to the bed, I look up, I'm like, what is going on? I look at my mom. I could just see the word I would use is despair in her face. I could just see like something's not right. And I instantly went into an anxiety, just panicking, like what is going on? I'm tied down. And she just breaks it down to me like what had happened. And then I got even more anxiety. Like I couldn't believe it. It was like, what? It was almost like magic. You know, like the last thing I was on, party bus, drinking, yelling, hey, you know, and then the hospital, like a blink of an eye. And what happened was my friends lived on the 4th floor building of a complex called Rebel Place. It's UNLV student living off campus. They told me, we got drunk, we went upstairs, after party vibes, you know, and they had an extra room where I would sleep when I'd stay the night. The doors broke. So once you close the door shut, you need a butter knife to open it. They put me in the room to sleep, and they kept fucking with me on some drunk shit. So I woke up, I slammed the door. Then they tell me at the middle of the night, they heard me knocking on the door, right? I guess to get out. So they open the door, they look around, they don't see me. It's a little room, you know? They don't see me, windows open, and there's a video they have, and you can just see the phone drop, and you can hear them just run downstairs, like outside. So apparently, I just fell out the 4-story window. What I'm thinking I did is I panicked, and I thought I can climb down because it was a corner window to where I can shimmy like this down. I'm thinking that's what happened. I really don't remember, but I'm thinking that's what happened. Security guard found me, and then I was in a medically induced coma for about 3 days, 3 to 4 days, and they were telling my mom, you know, we don't know if he's going to wake up. If he does, he might be a vegetable. He might not remember you. We really don't know.
Wow. And
I'm thankful my mom never pulled the plug or anything like that. You know, I have to look back and see if I had brain activity. That's why they didn't pull the plug. But yeah, I was after that, I was in hospital for about only 3 weeks, surprisingly. And that process was stressful. Just laying there, not able to do anything for myself because I couldn't move my arms really. My mom had to feed me food. I didn't shower the whole time and just stuck to the bed, you know, all day, every day. It was just...
Now, when you say stuck to the bed, how come you were stuck to the bed?
Because I fractured my spine.
Oh, God.
I dislocated my clavicle. I had brain swelling. I broke almost all my ribs on my right side. And I just didn't have the mobility to do it.
Sure.
Like, I don't even know why. I was just All I can do was use Play-Doh. That's how it started, Play-Doh. I had to get a Play-Doh, put it in the cup and out the cup. That's all I can do at first. And that was like the beginning of rehab.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How long did rehab take?
So from the time I went to in the hospital till I got out was total 3 weeks.
Okay.
So I think rehab, I probably did 2 weeks of it.
Okay.
But I was just motivated to get out. I was dedicated because just the way my mom looked, you know, and she remember it was Thanksgiving time. She brought me a plate and everything. And I made it a goal to myself. Like, I'm getting out here by Christmas for my mom, like plain and simple. So every day in therapy, I was just doing everything I could. And she had to get kind of licensed to take care of me because the next process would have been a hospice type vibe, outpatient rehab. But we couldn't afford that. So they taught her how to take care for me, getting in and out of cars, upstairs. We literally practiced, you know, every day. And eventually I was released to go home on December 2nd.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to meet your mom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like that's the dedication of a mother.
Yeah.
I know a little something about that because my mom's hung in there through some crazy stuff. But man, your mother actually went ahead and got certified to do all that. That's incredible. Yeah. So you weren't walking at the time. You had to learn.
I had to learn how to walk again. Yeah. So I had a walker.
Okay.
I had a walker for about maybe like 6 weeks, maybe almost 2 months. I had to use a walker and a back brace. Big old back brace and a walker.
Yep.
And when they released me, you know, I went home and I'm back living with my mom. So I'm really feeling down. Here I am, 24. I had moved out at 18. I'm back at my mom, sleeping on the couch. And it was sad because I still couldn't move and I couldn't laugh, cough because my ribs. I would have to wake her up at like 1 a.m. and just yell so she could come pick me up and then take me to the bathroom. So that went on for a few weeks as well. And yeah, man, just time passed. And my mom always told me as a kid, 2 quotes she always told me was, you got to go through hard times to have good times. And another one she would always say, it's going to be greater later. And I'd always be like, whatever, man, you know, but it stuck in me, you know, so I never just gave up. I was like, you know, just keep pushing.
So I'm intrigued by the physical challenge, big believer that, man, going through physical challenges builds the mental fortitude. But it sounds like you had a solid foundation early on. Like you were accustomed to the challenge, like coming out the other side, just figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
Like even you talking about all those things that you ran into in and out of jail, like you're like, yeah, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to just gloss over that.
No, yeah.
Like that's incredible having those life experiences, being able to build on that. Now you end up in the hospital reliant on mom to be there to support. And it sounds like that was your motivation to get you up out of the bed and like, man, like I can't, you know, be dependent entirely on her. Like, let me get back up on my feet and get going. So tell me, this is the point where you're like, the party life's over.
Sorry to break it to you, it's not.
Okay.
So at this point, I told myself what anybody probably tells themselves after they get hungover. I'm never drinking again, none of that. Mm-hmm. And I told myself that. I was like, you know what? I need to take a break. Like alcohol just almost took my life, like literally almost took my life. And I remember February of that, right after my accident, so about 3 months after my accident, I went to the club, One Oak, with some friends. And I could barely walk at this time, but I had my button up on, everything. I had a picture. We're all, bottle service. I didn't drink, though, but I just went out just to be with my people, be out the house, because I didn't have no visitors during my stay in the hospital. I just didn't want them because I was getting anxiety every time the idea of it came. And then by April, my birthday, I remember, back to drinking. But my thing, I thought I had in control, was like, you know what, I can drink now, but just don't black out. It's okay. As long as you don't black out. I made it like safe like the way. Kept on drinking, back to my old habits. The whole 2015, back to literally like it was just like nothing ever happened. Just slipped back into it. Drinking Hennessy, eating bad food, out with my friends, just partying.
Now, what are you doing? Because you were at home on mom's couch.
Yep, nothing.
Are you working?
Nope.
Are you?
So we're filing for disability.
Okay.
I was trying to get disability, so I wasn't working for about a good 2 years. 2 years, I was waiting for disability. So at this point, I literally was on mom's couch and hanging out with my friends. So then, remember the car accident I told you about 2014, August? Yep. So fast forward, I'm back to my drinking stuff. I get a call in August 2015, so almost a year later. Like, hey, so-and-so's in the hospital with my closest friend at the time. Apparently he had drank too much, fell asleep, inhaled his own vomit, and now is on life support.
Oh,
So as people are texting me this, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be all right. I just fell out a 4-story window. I had nothing going for myself at the time. I was just fresh off drugs. Him, he had just got a second job, 2 kids, doing well. So I'm like, he's going to be all right. Like, I made it out a 4-story window. He can make this, you know? After about 2-3 days, got a text, hey, you want to come say your final goodbyes? We're going to pull it. And to me, I was like, nah, I'm not going. Like, I don't want my last memory to be that of him. You know, like I never seen a dead body at that point in my life. I was like, no. I was kind of scared of how I'd react also.
Sure.
So that happens. So then the night before his funeral, we're in the car. Me and some friends, we're all going to get bow ties for his funeral because that was his thing. My friend runs a red light. Metro pulls us over. And I had a warrant from her parents pressing charges on me.
No way.
Yeah, and I literally begged the cop, like, man, crying, like, please, my friend's funeral's tomorrow. Like, he's like, man, I would, but it's a felony. You know, they got me for Grand Theft Auto, and took me to jail.
You missed the funeral?
Yeah, took me to jail that night, and I instantly I don't know, I always think I had a strong mindset because I switched my mindset to like, you know what, this is the world telling me I didn't need to see him that way. You know, I wasn't meant to go to the funeral to see him that way. And I just took it that way, like, it's all right. And I bailed out maybe like a day after. My friends try to get me out as quick as they can, but that's what it was. So I get bailed out. I get out 2015. And then I go through the legal process, you know, see the judges and all that, and they put me on probation. And within less than a month, they came and violated me because I didn't know how probation worked. I was not taking it serious. So the lady came to my mom's house, went through my phone, saw some texts of stuff, me missing curfew. I was at the club, actually, like with a bottle in my hand. They pulled it up in court, too. Like, Your Honor, big-ass picture of me in the club holding a bottle. I was like, damn. So I was going to take the L. Like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to do my year in jail. I'll get out in, 9 months or whatever the case may be. And I ended up doing 2 months in jail. I did like 3 weeks until I could see the judge. No bail on probation violation. When I saw the judge, she's like, hey, you know, what's going on? And she was big on curfew, I guess they say. They're bickering. And she's like, you know, I'm going to give you a chance. But if you mess up again, you're coming back in here doing a year. You're going to do 30 days now. And I was like, I've been there for 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, so I have 1 more week? She's like, no, 30 days starting today. I was like, damn it. And it's funny because the day I got arrested by my probation officer was the day I fell out of a window. The day she sentenced me 30 days was the day I got out the hospital. So it was weird how it worked out. I don't know if it's anything in the universe or what, but I did 30 days. I got out New Year's Day of 2016. During that period in time in jail, that's kind of where things shifted for me.
how
a little
so?
bit.
Tell me about that.
Well, I ended up becoming a trustee, and I was sent to Northtown. Like, it's supposed to be a women's prison, I believe, but that's where the overflow goes, right near the base. So it was like a prison cell, you know, the way it looked, as opposed to like a boot camp style.
You mean Northern Complex?
Maybe. It's right by the Air Force Base.
Big building.
Big
Yeah,
building.
yeah.
So I'm there for 30 days, and you have nothing else to do but read books, think to yourself, figure out the changes you want to make. And I wanted to make sure I wasn't just saying it because I was in that position. You know, I wanted to make sure it was real to where when I get freedom again, I don't be on the same bullshit. And that's kind of gradually where I kind of started to change my life, I guess I'll say.
Wow. So it wasn't the fall out the window.
I thought it would be, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. You know, it really
That's
wasn't.
honest. Yeah.
I'm very hard-headed, to be honest. And I think all those things that happened, the jail time, DUI, all these things were just like slaps in the face. Like, come on, bro. Like, we're trying to tell you something. And it just took me 8 years. Maximum was 2014. Yeah, 8 years to finally, maybe 7 years, to finally grasp what I'm here to be and do.
I love that. And I love your perspective on things. From the beginning, your story when you were a little boy and you said, you know, it was life and that's what we did. And I would walk all this way to meet my mom. And then all the way to this, like with your best friend's funeral, and I have chills. And we say it all the time. It takes those perspective flips to become a gritty person. And that's what you are, because you could have just wallowed in it. And you could have been like, you know, forget, I'm in jail, I'll do whatever, I'll sleep all day long, like Adam saw for 20 years.
Yeah.
But you changed your life, and that's amazing.
Thank you.
So what happened when you were released?
So I got released 2016. Now, like I said, it wasn't a felony, a grand misdemeanor, and I couldn't get a job. It's so crazy. I was applying everywhere, 24 Hour Fitness. Like I would get hired, and then the process takes about 2 weeks. You know, like second interview, you know, background check, 24 Hour Fitness, background check, no. A few other places, no. And the one place I did work at was a video game place where I would sit there and play on the iPhone and just find glitches. I worked for about a week or two. Background check came out, let me go. And then I was going through a program called Hope for Prisoners. And you've been there?
I know it.
Yeah. So my PO suggested I go there. And to me, I was like, I have curfew. That's a way for me to be out later. I'll go. So I would just go every week. And I mean, they're supposed to help you job placement. It didn't work out for me. So 2016, I'm on probation now. I'm serious. I'm like, I'm not going back. I'm not drinking. I'm in at 5 o'clock every day, no curfew. My PO, I was on very strict probation for whatever reason. After about a year, she passed me off to a lower grade type probation. So this PO was chill. I only had to come like once a month. He didn't come to my house, none of that stuff. And he eventually let me out early because I was going to school again too. I was taking classes just to get, every month you do a class, you get like 10 days off. And then you pay your restitution, like another 10 days off. So I was doing little things like that, hopefully to scale down the 2-year probation. And then 2017, I get off probation. And you know what I do? Coachella. No, I was still on probation, not Coachella. Actually, I was still on probation because, like I said, he wasn't checking in as much. I was like, what are they going to do? They can't find me. I could live anywhere. And I went to Coachella. The end of 17, they let me out. But that summer of 17 was probably my worst because I was just drunk all the time.
Really?
Yeah. No real job, with my friend, kicking it, and just Jameson for whatever reason. I have videos now. Like, it's just like, I don't know. I think that was my way of coping from what I was dealing with, obviously.
Sure.
But I was just really back to it. Blackouts again. All that again. 2017 all the way to 18.
When you say coping, dealing with it, in reference to what?
So what I've come to realize now, or think has what happened to me, is because as a kid, I wasn't able to get or have a family dynamic of getting pushed to do anything, in a sense, attention. And my dad was around, but he wasn't. And I think when I think back on things, being the life of the party, things of that nature, I liked that. You know, people wanted to be around me because I'm lively and I'm fun when I'm drunk. So that's what I went back to, I think, in 2017. That's what it all was. Just drunk, let's kick it for no reason. Just getting drunk at least 3-4 days out the week. And that went on all 17. And then I got a job in 2017. The end of 17, I got a job at a dispensary when it went legal. Got a job, and that's kind of where I started tiptoeing into the personal training space around that time period.
How did you end up making that dispensary to personal
Well, I mean, that's
training
just how
space?
it happened. So 2017, so 2018, I was working at a dispensary. And honestly, I was sitting there looking, and I was just looking at the people who ran the dispensary. And I'm like, wow, I'm here making you rich. You know, there's people who look like me who are in jail for what you're making money on. It just hit me. I take that kind of shit serious. And I was like, nah, I need to do something else. And there's a rapper named Nipsey Hussle, and he had said in the song some lyrics that really just hit me. And I was just like, okay, I like working out. I've been through some shit. I can help people with what I've been through so they don't have to deal with it. Bought my certification program. Took me a year to finish it, but that's how I got into the fitness space.
That is not what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah.
No, but that's amazing. And what are
That's
the lyrics?
incredible, yeah.
I'll be damned if I slave for some white C-word.
Okay.
That's exactly, I'm sorry to say. That's
No.
That was the
but
lyrics he
don't
said.
apologize, man.
And like I said, he's a gangbanging type rapper, whatever, but I know he meant well and he had a good message. And to me, somebody like that who came from a rougher background than me and was in a positive light, him saying that and then me seeing it, I'm like, yeah, this isn't how it should be. You know, like there's literally people in jail for the rest of their lives like that based off weed and things like that. And here these people are making millions off it. And I'm like, I'm not going to be contributing to that. I'm going to go grind and get my own thing and help people. And that's literally what it was.
Believe me, like we know a lot of those people that you're referring to very well. I mean, a large part of what we do is, advocacy work, criminal justice reform, because of, the time that I served, the community that Ro built to support families who have a loved one that's incarcerated. So she built the outside network. Well, I was on the inside doing the same thing, looking to build a strong network to help individuals get out of that system and stay out. that's why I'm always so intrigued. Like, what's that turning point? Like, what's that thing that at least, bam, gets you to change direction? And one of the reasons I was so excited, because I'm like, man, he found a passion for fitness. And I was really curious to hear like the origins of that. Like, how did that come about? This was not what I was expecting.
No, but I like it better because you are so real and authentic, and it takes in like, don't apologize for the things that you're saying or the way that you think, because that's what people resonate with. And you're going to say something that's going to resonate with somebody listening to this in the way that you say it, so real and raw, just like that line in that song resonated so deeply within you. It made you change your whole life around. It saved your life.
Yeah, I will say, yeah. And I mean, the fitness aspect, I've always been somewhat an athlete. I initially got into, I guess, sports at age 4th grade. I played ice hockey for 3 years in Orange County. That's before I moved here.
Okay.
Yeah, it was this crazy program. Me and some friends were hanging out at a park. A random white man walks up to us. Hey, you guys play ice hockey? We're like, what? You know, we're kind of like low income area. Yeah, some California stuff. And it was a program ran by Michael Eisner, I believe his name is. I think he's like COO of Disney or something.
Yeah.
It's a program called Disney Goals. So all we had to do was show up once a week at a church. The coach would teach us about hockey. We take a test. The following week, like on a Tuesday or Monday, a charter bus will pick us up. All of us kids in the neighborhood just pick us up, take us to the Mighty Ducks practice facility. We get free skates to rent, free equipment, and we'd play a game.
Wow.
And after a year, you get your own equipment. And then that's why Disneyland, we'd always get free Disneyland passes. Literally would go for fun. That's where my fitness kind of started. And obviously I played sports in high school and that nature, but yeah.
You say obviously. Not everybody played sports in high school.
You're right. My bad. I played football and basketball in high school, and then
how were you? Like
basketball, I was good. I was decent at basketball.
Okay.
I think if I had the right coach or things like that to push me in the direction, I could probably play like maybe college, low-end college, or maybe even overseas.
Okay.
I'll say I was at least that good at that point.
So you're an athlete.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Oh, Rise Challenge.
That's right.
George, sign another one up. Yes. We love it. You know, as we said, our passion, health, fitness, both of us, you know, had challenges in our past. And that was like that point of, for me, it was where I like really developed the mental fortitude that I needed. Like I was able to test myself physically.
Yeah.
And when I accomplished things I'd never done before, I'm like, damn, like I did that. I lunged a mile. I did walking lunges for a mile. Like, why would you do that? To prove that I could do it.
Yeah, what? Okay.
You know what I mean?
That.
And after that,
Or
it's
because
like,
he's crazy. One or the
a little
other.
mixture, 50-50.
There you
maybe
go.
a little bit of that. But for me, that's always been like, it's been key to me accomplishing things that other people didn't think that I could ever do. You know, I'm like, well, let me show them.
Yeah, I like that.
So when I heard that you fell out of a window or in a coma for days and then, you know, got it together and figured out how to walk again, I'm like, damn. I was like, this guy's been through it. I was like, those are some serious physical challenges. And I know anybody that you're training these days, like, what can they possibly come in and say to you after everything that you've been through?
And that's the hard part, because I try not to do that to people. Like, I made it through that. You can do this, you know. Everybody
But
has
you do have it in your back pocket.
Yeah, I do. I do. And it's just everybody's different. You know, everybody's different backgrounds, different things. But I do try to push and let them know, like, I'm here talking to you, breathing. You can't go down the street and meet somebody who fell off a 4-story window.
That's right.
I've heard people die. I had a client once tell me her brother committed suicide off a 1st or 2nd story building. So when I told her my story, she's like, oh my God, you know? And, but yeah, and that led to me working at Orange Theory. I left the dispensary, passed my exam, became certified. I worked Orange Theory at the front desk for 6 months. I would take the bus 2 hours from across town.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll take the bus 2 hours from across town to get to work 3 hours early so I could take an hour class, and I'd have a computer at home. So I'd use the desk for 2 hours to study for my NASM test. Headphones on, audio lectures all day, locked in, baby. Passed on my first try. And
Nice.
I purposely scheduled my exam on my birthday, because at that point in my life, I'm like, I'm tired of celebrating my birthday for what? I haven't done shit. I'm in the same spot as last year. I was like, you know what? Let me pass this test. So on my birthday, I got a reason to celebrate. And that's what happened. And then, so some people think fitness is just you hop in or whatever. Like, no, I had to go to the bus 2 hours, man. You got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? To get where you want to get.
And what birthday was that? What year? How old were you?
I'm 2019.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, 2019. I was turning 20. How old am I now? 28, 29,
Okay.
something like that. 28, something like that.
Wow.
See, there's so many parts of your story. Like you take it for granted, like that challenge, like 2 hours on the bus, man. For somebody that's never taken the bus, listen, like that's commitment, that's dedication, putting in that time, putting in that effort. Like that's what I'm talking about. That's gritability.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that it's just become so natural to you, like speaks to how much of it you have.
I mean, a part of it, I was thinking about it too long ago. A big thing that was driving me all my life was that my dad wasn't around. So in my mind, especially with my last name is not common, Warmsley. And at one point I wanted to change it to my Hispanic side, Gonzalez, but I was like, you know what? He's going to fucking hear my name. That was always my drive.
Ooh.
Like almost, I'm going to show you, you know? You're going to
Yep.
hear your son's name. Like you're going to know. And after a while I had to let that go. Because it was like, that's not going to do anything for me. Am I trying to be a better man than him? That's not being better. That's like trying to put it in his face. And not too long ago, back in October, I went and met with him for the first time in 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I reached out to him, and nothing crazy. We just sat and talked, kind of caught up, and I just expressed to him that I'm not mad, I'm not upset. I want him to know where I'm at now in life, what I'm doing, and that I understand he did the best he could at that age, at 30 years old, at the time last time I saw him. And I realized that a lot when I turned 30 about both my parents, because I felt the way about my mom as well. I had issues with her, but then I realized when she was 30, she was homeless with 2 kids. Here I am, able, capable. So I've just learned to release that anger and things like that. So I'm working on patching my relationship with all my family, especially him. And during that meeting, I can tell he was more nervous and like on edge than I was. And then hearing what's going on in his life, I'm like, you struggling out here just like me. You know what? It makes no sense for me to attack you right now off some shit 20 years ago. I turned out pretty fucking well, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so mature.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed, man. Like you turned out way better than just okay, man. What you've accomplished has been nothing short of phenomenal. I love the fact that, you know, you've built this career. I've seen, you know, what you're doing with fitness.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, you know, what your day looks like now, what your aspirations are. Give us a little bit of forward.
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I'm now going on 15 months sober.
Congrats.
Yeah, because at one point, no liquor. I mean, I still do weed, but the end of what year was last year?
22. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I know it gets confusing. I know.
I ended up getting like a coach, and I was training with him, and he was training me for free as a mentee. So I took it serious. Like, you know what? I'm done drinking for now. I just thought. But as time went on, it's crazy. The power of being able to say no, it felt good. Because usually a friend will text me, hey, you know, mimosas, and I'm just like, nah. I felt good after that. I feel like I had some power of myself now, some control. Like, I'm going to say no. And it felt good because now I'm there for my clients. Because there were situations where I was hungover and I would cancel. I can't make it. That's embarrassing. I'm letting liquor get between me and what I think my purpose is to be. And there's no good out of liquor. You know, what's the benefit of it? You drink too much, you're hurting the next day. Weed, you're okay. You fall asleep. So that's been my main thing, is staying sober. And honestly, being sober over the past year and a half has given me so much clarity of things. It's like really a healing life right now.
Yeah.
And one thing I've learned about is survival mode. And that's what I've been coming out of. Because my whole life, as you hear it, has been just trying to live for the next day. Even when I had jobs in my 20s, always just minimal jobs. Now I'm in a career I can make good money, help people. And it just feels like I'm in it. Like I'm able to enjoy it now, as opposed to like, fuck, I gotta grind. I gotta keep going. And I've been trying to calm myself down and take it down a notch. Like, and that's why I do the charity events as well, because I know how important community is. And like I said, when we were homeless, the charities are what helped us. The churches, the people donating stuff. That's what I want to give back to people. And I want people to realize you don't need to be rich or anything like to do that. That was my whole thing. I thought I gotta be successful. I gotta be this trainer. I gotta have millions. Hell no, I'm just as broke as anybody else. But people feel my energy and they feel what I'm trying to do. So they want to do it with me, and I'm able to do these events. It don't take money, it takes effort, to be honest. Like, I just reach out to people, tell them, hey, this is what I got going on. And they're more than willing to do, you know, to help and donate and help these events thrive. So that's pretty much where I'm at now. Back to your question, my daily routine, you know, I wake up 4:50 in the morning. I train my clients 6 to 11, Monday through Friday. I do boot camps on weekends. And then in my free time, I'm with my girlfriend, or I'm trying to put together another event. Honestly, I'm always thinking about an event or ideas. How can I help people? How can I reach more people? Because as a trainer,
Love that.
I can help people, but only that circle of 14, 15 clients, which is great. But how can I help the masses? How can I help more people who need it? Because we all need it. We all do. We need somebody to show us it's possible. My favorite quote I want to tell you is, one of my favorites, it says, I am going to be a reason. I'm going to be an example that it is possible. And that's by Mel Robbins. And once I heard that, I'm like, oh, you fucking right. And that's just, I take quotes so serious sometimes, all the time. I find the little gem ones and I just almost like replay it in my head again and again.
That's your match.
Yeah, you have to, because you have to just be in it and live it to where it's like, by heart. Because your subconscious is going to remember.
That's right.
And it just drives you. Like, I heard a story of Kobe Bryant. I don't know if you heard the story where he said he was listening to the Michael Myers theme music on repeat before a game.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not going that crazy, but to that level, you know what I mean? And that's where I'm at now in life. I think I'm pretty good at what I do as a trainer. Do I have the best experience? Am I the most ripped? Hell no. But I'm the most real.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Need that one. But I am. And I think that's what helps me connect with people. I don't sugarcoat with my women. I mean, I don't know if you're able to tell, but I've been told I have very direct and stern tone when I talk. People thought I was in the military. No, I wasn't. I don't know what it is, but my clients need that. A lot of people need that. And yeah, man, I'm just using, I feel like my gift as my voice, my energy. The shit I've been through, I'm not gonna let that go for nothing. My friend died, I survived, I'm not gonna let that go for nothing. My mom walked miles and to this day is grinding, cares about her son no matter what. I'm not gonna let that go for granted. I'm not perfect. There's times I, get tired, whatever, complain, but I never cry over spilt milk, man. Because I know I've lived it and I know it can always be worse. People say it, but you've lived it as well, I'm sure. It can always be worse. So I've been doing my best now I'm right now in my healing stage of life. Learning how to communicate better, control my emotions better, and just being, like I said, I'm going to be an example. It's possible. So when you thinking oh God, I can't, well, I need to wait for this. Like, what do you mean? I did all this shit. I've been through it too. You think I waited till it was rainbows? It's never been rainbows, unicorns. Even now, as I make good money and I'm in a good job, there's still shit I deal with, But it's like learning how to delegate everything. Understanding that's a part of life.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a part of life. The grind, it's always going to be a part of life. Mm-hmm. As soon as you pay your bills and get out of debt, something else is going to happen. Somebody's going to die. So after somebody's, recovers from a stroke, you lost your job. It's always going to be something, man. You just got to understand that's part of life. It's going to be good. And it's going to be, I wish I could remember the quote word for word from Blow. I don't know if you watched Blow, the movie.
Sure.
When he was reciting a quote from his dad, he's like, when you're at the top, it's never as good as it seems. And when you're at the bottom, I don't remember it word for word.
Do you remember?
I don't remember.
It's at the end of the movie, he was replaying it, and he was saying something like that. He's like, when you're at the bottom, you'll never think you'll be at the top. And when you're at the top, it's never as good as it seems. Something of those natures.
Yeah, something like that.
And things like that I kind of remember.
Well, I would say you are very much at a good point in your life right now. I love everything that you're doing. I love what you said, utilizing your gifts. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about, not just dwelling on whatever the past is. Clearly, you've taken that and used it to your benefit. And I love the fact that you're serving others, man, and you're looking for ways to contribute and give back. Please let us know if there's any way that we can contribute and give back, be a part of what you're doing. Yeah. Is there anything that you want to promote, that you want to put out while you have this opportunity right now?
I want to promote one of the first shows I ever did to help me tell my story, because I was not always comfortable and confident. One thing why I refrained from telling my story, because I didn't want to come off as seeking attention.
Okay.
I know I'm not, but anyways, she gave me the comfortability. It's called That Part Talk Show. It's my girlfriend's talk show. She's a DJ, and she has people come on there to tell their stories, just like you guys do.
Love it.
People in the entertainment industry. So I want to give that a shout out. I got a Pride event coming up in June. Follow me on Instagram at Dorian Warmsley. The end of June, it'll be Rainbow Relay 3.0. We're going to raise money to send some kids to camp. It's our third year doing it. As of now, it's all I got. I'm at the Self-Made Training Facility. Follow me on Instagram. You mentioned this interview. I'll hook you up with some free sessions. Yeah, man, if you're You need help? I'm here. You know, you trying to stop drinking? I'm here. You trying to get in shape? I'm here. Yeah, and that's pretty much all I got to promote. And I would thank you guys for having me on, man. This is amazing. I feel so comfortable telling. I feel fired up right now. I might go do some push-ups. Shit.
Yes, and that's what I was hoping, because we'd like to lock you into something.
Yeah.
We have this thing. It's called the Rise Challenge.
Okay.
And there's a group of us planning to go out in a few weeks. We're going to do it. It's a run. It's a climb. Covers about 6.5 miles, 3 different peaks. We're going to do it as a group. It's one of those things that it's going to be a challenge, but man, it's a lot of fun. And it's all about being around the right people. It's third week of April. So like, I'm a big believer I've been through some really tough grinds.
Yeah.
And I've had people like literally just next to me, like going, come on, man. And I could feel their energy. So I love doing things like that with people that bring me, you know, that inspire me.
Yeah.
So I'd love to have you be a part of that. George up here. George is going to be with us.
I bought you some time.
What's the date?
Yeah,
Mid-April.
he said a couple of weeks. I am fired up. Dude, he said end of the month, and this was last week, right? And
Okay.
I'm like, damn.
We had to bump it a little bit.
So last weekend, I started doing the drive-by, like kind of mapping out where I think you're going to take us.
Yep.
It's okay. I do think it's attainable. I do know that last kick though, up Alexander and that mountain. I can do the first two. I know that. That third one is going to kill me.
You got this.
I know. I am.
There you go.
I'm going to do it. But to hit it in 2 hours is going to be a challenge.
And that's the idea, man. And that's what, you know, I've done some crazy physical challenges, and I'm telling you, it has reset reference points for me. Like everything else in life is simple by comparison. You know, whenever you get that bill or you have that bad news, you're like, you know what? This is nothing, man.
Yeah.
I can deal with this. So
Because I lunged a mile.
so we'd love to have you come out there with us, and we're going to have to come by Self-Made.
Yeah.
100%.
Anytime. You're more than welcome. They're all Monday through Friday, Saturdays. I'm there. Come. You're always welcomed.
Let's do it.
And then what was the date? You said April. Do you have a date?
April, nope. The next weekend, if somebody could look at a calendar, it's going to be Saturday. I think it's 21st.
21st. Okay. I'll be
We'll
here.
text you to make sure it's the right
That's
date.
3 weeks.
April
Okay.
21st.
All right. Oh, birthday, 4/17. April 17th is my birthday, y'all. You want to get me a French Bulldog? Feel free. I don't care what breed. Just make sure it's healthy.
Go big.
That's my wish list. Yeah.
All right. Well, man, we thank you for joining us. This has been another incredible episode of Gritability, the power of perseverance, overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds to attain the life of your dreams, to become truly remarkable. I'm your podcast host, Adam Clausen. It's been a pleasure to have Dorian Warmsley here with us today, and my beautiful co-host,
Ro Clausen.
We'll see you back here on the next episode of Gritability.